Good morning. My name is Jennifer. Welcome to Sweet Home California. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about prepping. And it doesn't have to be expensive. As I said, the first step in prepping is to watch your budget. So you definitely don't want to put yourself out while you're preparing for the future. So I talked about how to not waste food in my last video. Things like a food sealer and also a dehydrator. Because you can get great deals on fruit right now, because this is the time that they're in season. So, but you can't, you buy all this fruit, then what are you going to do with it? It's going to go bad. So you have to do something with it. And one of the things that you can do with it is dehydrate it. And I have been doing that for the last couple of days. So in this little jar that I vacuum sealed, so again, it kind of works together, is we've got some apples and peaches and nectarines. And this one, we've got some strawberries in there in the mix as well. Strawberries were difficult. Not my favorite, but they still tasted good, but you can taste the seeds a lot more. Some more nectarines, peaches, and then this one is bananas. And one of the things that I learned, when you have your dehydrator, I got mine at a yard sale for $15, and this is the model that I got. It came with 5 trays, and it did not come with the silicone sealer, the liners. So my first batch I tried doing without the liner, and they stick really bad, and it was a lot of time just trying to peel off bananas from the plastic tray. So I would definitely recommend getting the silicone sealers, liners. I'll put a link in the description, and then it's a lot easier to peel off. The other thing that I learned is that you want to cut your fruit very evenly, because these are going to dry, and the air kind of circulates around in there. This particular model doesn't have a fan, so it's got 5 layers, and the layer that's closest to the element is going to dry out fastest. So every couple hours you need to rearrange that. So every couple hours, that's what I would have to do. But even so, on each level, if your fruit isn't evenly cut, you're going to have some that are going to dry out faster than others. So cutting them evenly, I mean, you can do it, just with a knife and eyeballing it, but you could also do it with a little faster with something like this. My mom and dad got this for me for Christmas. So I'm not sure how much it costs, but I will try and find it and put a link in the description for that as well. And so then I could just put a banana in there, and it would that's about a 1/4 inch apart, and that seems to be a good thickness. I did try a slicer, and that it was part of that same set. I tried doing it with this, but it was a little too thin, and it just kind of, after it started drying out, it had like the consistency of paper, and it's still edible, but I didn't like it quite as much. When you dry out your fruit, one of the things that I had read in researching this was oftentimes people will dry them too much. They only need to be dried to a moisture amount of about 15 to 18%. And I use a moisture meter, and I will include a link to that as well. Mine I got from Harbor Freight for about $13. So it's not necessary, because you can kind of feel it and taste it. You don't want to have the fruit kind of stick to you. You don't want to feel the moisture in the surface. It's okay if it's still some moisture inside, but just as long as the surface is all nice and dry, then that should be good. But if you want to be a little more precise, then get the moisture meter. I got it because I'm also a woodworker, and so I got my moisture meter a long time ago so I could tell how dry my wood was, because you need to have it down to a certain percent before the wood's stable. But anyhow, now I can use it for the fruit as well. It's just 2 little prongs, and you clean those off in between uses. So anyhow, so far I've got 4 little, I think these are pint size, half pint dried fruit, and this will keep for a couple of years. I am going to date them so I can keep track. I want to see just how long they really do last for, and I'll be checking on them just to make sure that nothing bad is going. Since this is my first time doing this, and that's why I'm documenting this. I kind of want to invite you along on the journey, and I'd love to hear back from you as well. So if you've been dehydrating food, if you've got a more advanced dehydrator, I'm definitely looking to expand my capability, because this is the 4 jars that I showed you is over the course of several days. It takes a long time to dehydrate fruit. And it takes even longer when you're constantly tasting it to see how dry it is. So, you think you have 5 trays of fruit, but after you rotate it, so you're seeing it all the time. And so it's like, oh, let me see if this one's done. Oh, yep, that's good. So if I had one that was a bit more automated and it dried everything evenly without me having to touch it, I'm sure I would end up with a lot more dried fruit at the end, because I wouldn't be eating it all along the way. So anyhow, I'd love to hear from you if you've got a dehydrator that you really love. I've been keeping an eye out on the marketplace to see if there's something that I don't have to spend $170 on. I'd much rather find one used, like this one I got used for $15. So I'm willing to spend a little bit more on one that's got more advanced features. Like there are some that you can control the temperature, and you can even do like beef jerky, put meats in this to dehydrate. And I'm not sure that I would trust this unit, just because it's not as temperature controlled and everything, and I'm sure if you don't keep it at a certain temperature, meat can go bad. So I'm not willing to try that yet on this. But if you've done meat in a similar type dehydrator, or you have one that you would recommend, please let me know in the comments. Again, this is just all about showing you my journey on being prepared. And again, it doesn't have to be earthquakes, fires, riots. It's just even the little things like in California, power outages. So you don't want to necessarily depend on a freezer. Having things that are shelf stable would be critical for that. I was once in a power outage situation in upstate New York where we didn't have power for about 2 or 3 weeks. So that was difficult. So those are the types of things that everybody should definitely be prepared for, no matter what you think may or may not be coming in the future. So anyhow, again, we're going to start small. Don't have to spend a lot of money on it. If you've got any other money-saving prepping tips, please also put those in the comments. And please like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.